This is the last workshop for the year, right? So the next couple of weeks, there's no workshops as we take a little break through the holidays, right? And these workshops will return after the New Year's, all right? So hope you guys take a nice break as well, rest up, and pick up the trading next year. Take a little break from it all. So starting off with this first question, right? This is a renko bar, basically kind of I guess I'd classify it as a pullback type of signal. Two types of pullback signal. One of them is, let's see here. Actually, this screenshot here actually focuses on a bar pullback. So, but the first question here that you don't actually see is about generating a signal on wicks. Actually, that's right. It's actually here in the text. So if we take a look at this big window here in the text, so on bars that on wick bars here, they have a wick of at least 6 or 8 ticks. We want to generate a signal. So if it's 5 ticks or less, then no signal, right? So basically, price is making a little bit of a pullback inside the renko bar and thus generating a wick, right? So a internal pullback type of a signal. So on, right, basically on these renko bars with a longer wick will generate a signal. But then also we'll look for a pullback made by the bars themselves. And the key is that, let's see here in this little text box, we have a SMA 20, sorry. Yeah, we have an SMA 20, the white line, and we want to make sure that the pullback doesn't break through that SMA 20, right? So in other words, this pullback here would produce a signal. The second one here would produce a signal because the bars don't break through the SMA 20. But this third pullback, we can see the last down bar, the last red bar, breaks through the SMA 20, so no signal there. All right. Yep. All right. So there we go. So two logics in one, right? So, all right. So let's minimize that and let's see how we're doing on the S&P. Well, we're hanging in there. We're hanging in this kind of lower level of the consolidation. So far so good. We'll see if we're going to go lower, if we're just going to, who knows. Back a couple years back, we could see from 2014 to 16, we were in a we could say we're definitely in consolidation, actually, to 2017. So maybe from 2015 to 2017, yeah, we developed this consolidation range for a couple of years, and yeah, maybe the same thing's coming for us in another year or so of consolidation. Yeah, well, we'll find out. Watch these levels. Okay. All right, so let's see here. I have a renko chart already up, and let me get the settings here again. So if we're looking for, for the wick bars, if we're looking for 6 to 7 ticks, the settings for the bar will be important, right? Because otherwise, too small of a bar setting won't produce wicks those long. All right, so we got 4, 2, and 7 are the bar settings. So let's open up the data series. All right, and they were using the backtest renko. All right, so 4, 2, and 7. All right, and we're going to turn backtest mode off. Make sure that's off. And I'm going to minimize the number of days here. There we go. All right. Okay. Let's see. Next. All right. Let's get that SMA 20 on the chart. All right. There. I think we have a good spot to work in. So let's see. Let me mark this area. And here's an even better area to work in there. All right. Yeah. Let's work in this area. Yeah, we got 2 spots. All right, so a downtrend and an uptrend area that we can work in here. All right, so that would be a good signal, and this would not. All right, so now that I got a couple of spots marked up on my chart, I know what I'm looking for, or I know where I want to see signals. Yeah, now this is a good place to get started. Okay, so let's get BloodHound open here. So, right, we're going to use the button up here at the top of the chart and open up BloodHound, and let's put in today's file name. So I'm going to hit the change button, last week's file name, and just update the date. All right, have that done. So next I'm going to start working on the logic tab here. All right, in order to start working on the logic board, we need to create a new logic template. There we go. All right, so let's see, what should we call this? All right, something like that. Renko, wick, and bar pullbacks. There. Let's see here. So, yeah, I guess we'll do the wick pullbacks first. So let's zoom this out, scale this out a little bit, and all right. So that I'm thinking this bar here looks like a good wick bar here, and the note didn't say it, but I'm sure that most likely these reversal bar wicks are to be filtered out because not all reversal bars. Right? Well, basically pretty much every reversal bar has a wick for the most part. It's very rare that, we actually do see a bar here with no wick, and that is very rare. Yeah, that tells me that basically price had gapped down dramatically. There must have been a lot of volatility in that moment here. Yeah, we had a little pullback, and then price just crashed back down quite quickly and gapped quite a few ticks. But for the most part, we know that with Renko bars, the reversal bars have wicks on them. So, so we'll filter out the reversal bar wicks. All right. So, how do we determine if there's a wick? Well, we can measure. Well, not measures incorrect. We can check the length, or we can check the distance between the open and either the high price, right? So if it's a down bar, it's going to go from the open to the high price. And if it's an up bar, let's see if I have a bar here. An up bar, well, I'll have to use this reversal bar as an example, but for up bars, again, we'll take the open price and check the, offset distance down to the low price, right? So from the open to the low for up bars, and from the open to the high for down bars. Right. So again, BloodHound doesn't actually do measuring, but the comparison solver, right? So we're going to use the comparison solver here. We're going to compare the open price to the high, or the open price to the low. And with the comparison solver, it has a difference setting here. So we're going to make sure that there's a difference, a minimum of a 6 tick difference from the open to the low or the open to the high, right? So, all right, so let's see here. Let's give this a name here. So we're going to check from the open. So if it's an up bar, we're going to check from the open to the low. And if it's a down bar, then we're going to check to the high. And we want at least a 6 tick difference there between the open to the low or the high. There. All right. That looks like a good enough name. So input A, that's going to be our open price. So we'll take the type and set the type to price, right? We want the input type to be price. And we're going to set these to the open price. So let's hit open and set the next one to the open. All right, now input B, again, that's going to be the type of the input is going to be price. So now for longs, right, so if it's an up bar, we're using the low price. And if it's a down bar or short, right, we're using the high price, like so. And we want a 6 tick difference. Now, we're going to set it slightly less than 6 ticks. And the reason why we're going slightly less than 6 ticks is because, right, the wick can be equal to 6 ticks or more. But if we look at our output settings here, right, if you read the text, it says A greater than B, A greater than B, right? There's no greater than or equals to. So these do not include an equals to, right? Now this equals is different. So this actually creates a range. So we can't use this one. So this equal would be basically 6 ticks above and 6 ticks below. So what we're interested is the A greater than, well, let's see here. Yes, A greater than, or for a short, A less than. So let's see. So it appears, well, let's measure this wick here. And yeah, this is only a 4 tick wick. Let's take a look at this screenshot here. So 4, 2, and 7. Oh, okay. Yeah, so these settings won't actually produce a wick that is 6 or 7 ticks. So there would never be any wick signals. All right, so let's make an adjustment to the bar settings here. So let's see, that was 4. All right, making some adjustments, and I think, yeah, we're gonna have to find, some different areas on the chart to work now. But there we go. So now we're getting some long wicks here. Let's see here. Yeah, so this reversal bar had a 7 tick wick. And let's check this wick. Yeah, and this up bar had a 7 tick wick. Okay, so now we can get some 6 to 7 tick wicks. And let's find our spots here. Well, actually, yeah, that one still works. Let's check these out. Well, actually, these are okay, but these pullbacks now, actually, those are okay. Ah, here we go. Okay, great. So at least a little further back, we have an example here of a invalid pullback. So there we go. So we'll make sure that one gets, there's no signal there. Okay, so let me go back here to where we're at. There we go. Yeah, so we'll still work in this area here. All right, so those are the bar pullback areas. So, all Yeah, so we're still not done working on the wick pullbacks here. So there, we'll stick the arrow on that for that wick pullback. So that's what we want to focus on right there. And we also have another wick pullback signal as well. Yeah, there we go. So we got 2 in there. All right. So we want to, we need to finish cleaning up these wick signals, because as we can see, we need to get rid of all these reversal bar wick signals. All right. So let's see here. So to get rid of those reversal bars, to filter those out, let's see if I can use the inflection solver here. All right, and so with the inflection solver, which is an inflection is just a reversal. All right, so inflection means a change in direction. And charts, the only change in direction on a chart is either something changes up or something changes down, right? Those are the only 2 directions that price can move, is up or down. So that's the only directional change you get on a chart, is up or down. So inflection just means reversal up or reversal down as it's applied to charting. So we're going to set the input type to price. And right, so you can see that that's marking all of our reversal bars. And then let's see, I think this is one of the rare times when I can use the invert option here. So with that, let's now take an AND node, and we're going to connect these 2 together. Although first, let's just take a look at what this invert option did for us. Let's take a look at this reversal down bar here. And if we look at BloodHound's output, you see it's missing the short signal, right? So if this solver is missing a short output here, right? So on this reversal bar, we're missing the short output. And so then, right, this solver, right, it does have a short output, but once we combine this solver that doesn't have a short output, it will get rid of it. Right, so there we go. So the AND node basically filtered out that reversal signal because this solver did not have a short output, right? Our inflection solver was missing that short output. So there we go. So now we can see that on all of these reversal bars, right, there's no output anymore, no signal on all these reversal bars. There. So now we're just left with wick signals. All right, there's another short wick signal, and there's a long wick signal. All right, and a long wick signal. All right, and a bunch of shorts. Yeah, I guess the way the market's been lately, getting a lot of good short signals. Okay, so there is the wick signals. So let me go back to where we're at. And so let's take this AND node and we'll label this, right? Label this the 6-tick wick signals there, like so. All right, and we're going to leave that to the side there. Put this off to the side. Okay, so now we can start working on basically the pullback bar signal here. One thing that we can gather from our screenshot, right, is that price the closing price of the bar needs to be above our SMA 20, right, which is the white moving average. So, right, so that kind of tells us what the trend direction is in general. So we can see that there's some other stuff here, right? We have another filter here that's painting these green shaded areas, or the racing stripes, right? We can see BloodHound's racing stripes in the background here. So that's the direct filter, but we don't have that information. So since we're missing, this what's producing this shaded or these green racing stripes in the background, we're gonna use the closing price being above or below the SMA 20 as a secondary trend signal here. So let's see, let's pull that back. Right, so we're just checking to make sure that the bar is either below or above our SMA 20 here. Let me get these arrows out of the way. So to do that check, we're going to use another comparison solver here. And the little side note, this comparison solver is pretty much the workhorse of all of these solvers here. It gets used the vast majority of time because charting, involves a lot of comparing, whether one data point is above or below another data point. Is one indicator above or below another indicator? Is price above or below an indicator? And charting involves a lot of that type of comparisons. All right, so let's zoom in here. Connect that in. And let's give this solver a name here. So we're checking to see if price is above or below the SMA 20. All right, so again, input A, that's going to be price. There. And we'll leave it on the close price. And input B, well, that's going to be our SMA 20. So let's open up this indicator. And we just need to change that default SMA to a 20 period. And there we go. So there, if we look on the chart, right, if the close of the bar is below the SMA, then it's right, we're getting a short output, and when the close of the bar is above the SMA 20, right, we're getting a long output. Right, so there you go. Just a good, simple, general kind of direction filter. All right, so let's see. Next, next we need to look for these reversal points. Right, so these, right, so we want the signal on the reversal bars, right, the reversal bars down in the direction of the trend. Right, so we're looking for these short reversal bars here. So let's just create another, well, actually we already, let's see here. No, we can't use this price inflection because remember, it's inverted. So yeah, so you know what, we should put that in the name here. All right, so we know that's a inverted price inflection. So we can't use that one. So let's go back down here and we'll just make a new one here. So let's hit price inflection, or indicator inflection, sorry. Plug that in there. And let's give this a name. And set the type to price. again. All right, and there we can see on the chart all of the inflection bars. So now if we take an AND node, now we'll get our kind of generalized trend filtering to filter out these reflections, these price inflections. Yeah, so there we go. All right, so now we're just getting reversal bar signals, right, in the direction of the trend, kind of based on our SMA 20. But let's go back here a little further. Yeah, here we go. So we wanted to get rid of this signal here. So let's expand this out a little bit. All right. So we need to produce a filter here. Right, so this is kind of our key bar here. So yeah, when this bar had broke below our SMA, we need to basically detect this condition here and use it to block the signal on the next bar, or block a potential signal on the next bar. So we're gonna do a comparison here, right? So again, we're gonna compare the close of the bar to the SMA 20 here. Now, this question is from Gary, and Gary let me know that it's actually okay if price goes one tick past the SMA 20. Right? So this bar definitely went. So this body, right? This body size of these bars are two ticks. So this bar definitely went 2 ticks past the SMA 20. So we know that this one's going to get filtered out here. All right, so let's grab a comparison solver, because again, the core thing that we're looking at, the core pieces of data, is we're looking at the close of this bar, and we're also looking at the SMA 20 and doing a comparison. So all right, so let's connect that in to the results here. And all right, so we're comparing. We're comparing the close, and we're gonna allow for a 1 tick overshoot, right? So we're comparing the close of the bar to the SMA 20. Yeah, I think that'll work for a name there. So all right, so input A, that's going to be price again. There. Input B, that's going to be our SMA 20 again. And I'm going to put 1 tick in there. Well, actually, it says 1 tick is okay. So we'll put in 0.99. So 0.99. All right, so now let's see. So now it's a matter of getting these outputs correct here. So what we want to see, let me grab a little drawing tool here. So what we want to see is no long output on this bar, which we have right now. So this is good, no long output. The problem is that we actually do want to see a long output on this bar, right? Because if price had reversed, right? If price had reversed after this bar, that signal would have been okay. So we do need to get a long output where the dot is. So what we can do is let's use the A equals B output here. So let's put that in there. Put that in there. And let's see, so far so good. Yeah, so we now have a long output where the dot is. All right, and where my white square is, there's no long output. So that looks good. And let's take a look over here. So yeah, on this bar here, right, there's no long output on that bar. So we're going to use this missing output here, this missing long output. We're going to use that to block the reversal bar, the signal on the reversal bar. So that's good. Yeah, this little pullback here, there's a long output. So that's good. Let's see if I can find some other spots, some other areas to spot check. Here we go. Yep. Pull back to the SMA, and we have a long output, so that's good. And let's see. Yeah, a little 4-bar pullback here, and there's a long output, so that's good. Yeah, here we go. Now, this wasn't a reversal, but what I'm looking at is, right, the close, you know, the close of this bar compared to the SMA, you know, it definitely is just over a tick. You know, it's probably a tick and a half, or maybe tick and 3/4 past our SMA 20, right? If you compare, you know, if you're looking at the SMA 20 to the closing price, and there's no long output on that bar. Right, so there we go. So that's another good confirmation, you know, that our solvers is set up correctly. You know, it's doing what we're wanting it to do. Okay, so with that, let me go back to the area we're working on. There. So let's connect this up and then connect this solver in. And oh, I'm missing one thing here. Whoop, missing one thing here. So yeah, so if we look, right, so we're looking at, let me disconnect that. So we're looking at this solver. Now on this bar, right, this is our reversal bar, there is a long output. So remember earlier I said we need to take this no output, right? So we need to take the output from the previous bar back, right? So we need to look back one bar. So we need to take this output and shift it forward one bar, right? And to do that, we're going to use the look back node. And with the look back node, we're actually using this displacement function, right? So we're using this displacement is NinjaTrader's displacement function. If you look at indicators, all indicators have a displacement parameter, and that's a function of NinjaTrader. So we're going to basically displace this signal forward in time by one bar. That's what the displacement does, is it displaces the signal forward in time by one bar. So we don't have to change any settings. We're using the default settings with this displacement of 1. And so what I like to do is I like to rename these lookback nodes to tell me what it's actually doing. So this one's just using a displacement of 1, right? And a period of 1 does nothing. So with a look back period of 1, it's not doing anything. So the only setting here that has any effect is the displacement, because it's set to 1. Now if we set the displacement to 0, now that turns the displacement off. Oh, let's take a look at this there. Okay, so now I have my look back connected to the result node here. And yeah, so if we look, right, there's no change, right? The output here on the chart has not changed. So let me put the arrow where there's no output, and then let's go to BloodHound, and if I set this displacement back to 1, now if we look back on the chart, well, now there's a long output in that square, but the next bar forward, there's no output, right? So no long output on our reversal bar, and that's what we want. So now let's take a look at this AND node. Let's push these back a little bit and connect, and click off here and connect those in, and bingo, our signal disappears on this reversal bar. Okay, so let's shrink up the chart, and let's we'll do some spot checking here. So let's see. Yeah, so here, yeah, if we look at this right here in the middle of the chart, I can see the close of the bar is just barely above the SMA. Yeah, it's just a fraction of a tick above it. And that's okay, because we're allowing a 1 tick, right? We're allowing the bar to close 1 tick past the SMA. So yeah, so those signals are okay. And yeah, here we go. So look here, right? Our pullback pulled too far back past the SMA, so no signal. And then we got some signals here and here. And yeah, signal there. And yeah, here's another good example. Right, so price, right? Price had pulled back past our SMA more than 1 tick, so that reversal bar, no signal. There. All right, and a signal. There. Yeah, that signal, good signal. Yep, signal. Oh, yeah, we were working in this area here with the squares. Yep, and we have all these signals as I marked with the little red arrow. All right, so anyways, I'm oh yeah, here's another little verification here. So yeah, price had pulled back too far there. So no signal on that reversal bar. All right, so I'm satisfied. So the next step is we need to combine all of these signals here. All right, so let's see here. So let's name this AND node here. So this AND node basically is a bar pullback signal. All right, so we'll line these AND nodes up, and then we're going to grab an OR node and plug them all into the OR node. And so now we have both signals together. So let's open this up here. Yeah, so we see, all right, so here's a bar pullback signal and a wick signal. And again, we got 2 in a row here. So a bar pullback signal and then a wick signal right after. Let's see what else we might have. There we go. So there's a wick signal where my cursor's at. Yeah, another wick signal. There's a wick signal. Yeah, here's another wick signal where my cursor's at. Yeah, so there we go. So there's both. All right, now one last step here. One last thing to do. And I'm going to grab another AND node. There we go, another AND. Connect that in. And I'm just going to call this filters. And let's see, let's rename this OR node here to both signals. There we go. All right. Now, the reason why we have this last AND node is because there's a component that we don't actually have here. But let's go back. Let's go back to the screenshot. Right. So this text box here gives us a little more explanation, right? So the first sentence says, after my bloodhound shades my area, right? So remember these racing stripes or this shaded green area, right? Shaded green area and shaded green area, right? And then we even have some shaded red areas here. So, right, a short shaded. So there's, right, so there's another component here to the bloodhound logic that we don't have. So what you do is whatever the logic is that's producing this shaded or these racing stripes, right? The shaded green or the green racing stripes. You take that logic and plug it into this AND node, and that adds additional filtering, right? So if anybody else has some other kind of way to, filter all these signals out, right? Because clearly this just produces a lot of signals here. And, what you might want to do is produce something that's going to kind of filter out areas like this, right, where consolidation might begin to happen, right? So you might want to, so if you have some kind of filtering mechanism that, I'm trying to grab this circle here. Yeah, so if you have some kind of filtering mechanism that, that would allow these good trending signals through, right? But then when price begins to kind of consolidate, you want to block those or filter those out. So that is what this last AND node is. You can take your filtering logic and connect it into this last AND node. All right. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, let me take a look at the question board and see if anybody has any follow-up questions on this. And let's see. Nope. Okay, I don't see any follow-up questions. Screenshot for the second question here. That's been a long time since I had questions about the regression channel solver here, but somebody took this screenshot off of our regression channel page, right, the documentation page for the regression channel solver. Just added their little condition here, so they'd like to. So the question is that when price pulls back into zone F, and actually, hold on, let me just double check. Yeah, zone F. Yeah. So if price pulls back into zone F, and let me just see if it means just the wicks or if the close of the bar needs to pull back into zone F. Actually, it doesn't say here. Yeah, so, zone F, it's pretty rare that you get the close below zone F. So I'll make this a little more liberal, and we'll say if a wick, breaks into zone F, but also the regression channel needs to be sloping upward, and then vice versa. If price goes into zone A and the channel is sloping down, then that'll produce a short signal. All right, so give me a moment here to get my chart set up. And let's see, I'm going to switch this chart over. All right, now I'm going to use the amaRegressionChannels so we can visualize what's happening on the chart. And I'll show you why in just a moment here. Let's see, this period, I think, I'll leave the period on 50 for now. And all right, standard deviation, I guess I'll just leave these default settings here. So a period of 50 and a standard deviation of 3.5. I'll just use those settings there. And let's put everything on the chart. Oh, hold on a sec. Yeah, let's set the colors up for a black chart. Okay, there we go. All right, so remember, zone F and zone A. Let's see here. So zone A is, let me try and grab this. There we go. So zone A is above the upper channel line. Zone F is anywhere below the lower channel line. All right. So let's see. Actually, hold on. Let me get rid of all these BloodHound signals on the chart here. So I'm gonna make a new logic template. There we go. And there we go. So that got rid of all the BloodHound signals. Now the reason why I'm using the ANA regression channel, you can see that as I go backwards on the chart, the regression channel works backwards. But actually, let's test the NinjaTrader one. So I haven't played around with NinjaTrader 8's regression channel. Let's see if they made it backwards compatible. And it does not look like they made it backwards compatible. No, they didn't. So the blue one, right, is NinjaTrader's regression channel, right? The white one is from LizardTrader. And if I scroll backwards, right, we can see NinjaTrader's regression channel doesn't move backwards. Yeah, so that's why it's nice to have the LizardTrader one, so you can see what happens historically. So let me get rid of Ninjas there. All right, so let me find some areas where we get a signal here. And now you got to keep in mind that when price breaks the channel, it has to be on the current bar, right? So hold on, let me make one more adjustment here to the chart. Yeah, let's push the margin out a little bit there. Right, so if you're using the regression channel, wrong icon again. I hope NinjaTrader makes this arrow icon a little easier to spot. Okay, so when you're using a regression channel, remember, you always got to keep an eye. The signal's produced on the current bar, so you always got to look at the leading edge of the channel, for your signals here. Yeah, so like right here, right, our channel's sloping down, and price had broken into zone A, or right, price broke the upper channel line, and so that would produce a short signal there. So that's where we want to produce a short signal. So there. Let's mark that one. Like so. Let's stretch this out a little bit. Let's go another bar back. All right. So we got another bar and another bar. Let's see how many bars we have here. Okay, great. So starting right here. So let's mark this. Okay, there. So I've got, right, all the bars marked here where at least the top of the bar, the high of the bar, had broken the upper channel line into zone A. So that'll produce a short. And let's see if we can find an uptrend to produce some long signals. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, this is getting into early morning hours, so let's. Here we go. All right, here's an uptrend. Let's see what we have here. There, so starting on this bar right here. All right, so there's our last bar. There, I'm gonna save a little bit of time so we know that basically all of these bars broke below the lower channel line. Right, so again, what we're looking at here is, right, we're looking at the low price of the bar and seeing if it's below the lower channel line here. So as I step backwards, yeah, even that bar, right, that wick is just a little bit below the channel line. Yeah, same with this bar, a little bit below it, a little bit below it. And there we go. So now the bar, right, the low is above the channel line. So no signal. Okay, so with that, I think I have an area to work in. All right, yeah, I'll just leave it right there. So let's get BloodHound back open. And let's go to our logic tab. All right, so let's see. What should we call this here? All right, so regression channel here. So let's see here. This is going to be a zone F for long signals and zone A for short signals. And then it's also the signals are with the slope, right? With the slope of the regression channel. All right, so let's start with our regression channel position, right? So there's two regression channel solvers here. There's one that'll measure the width and the other one that tells you the position here. And, oh, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to make a modification on this. Yeah, because what the regression channel is looking at, or I'm sorry, this solver, what this solver is looking at, well, let's see. Yeah, so I guess let me finish what I was saying here. So this regression channel solver is looking at the closing price of the bar. Yeah, so actually this solver is not going to work. If we're going to look at the wicks, yeah, it's not going to work in this case here. So, yeah. So we'll have to do this a different way. We'll have to approach this differently. So let me get rid of this, delete this solver from the list. There. Go back to the logic tab. So I'm going to go back to the comparison solver here. Now I can use the comparison solver because we're using zone F and zone A, right, which is based on the upper and lower channel lines. So let's take a look, right, at the screenshot that was sent in here. All right, so Right, so remember, zone A is above the upper channel line. Zone F is below the lower channel line. So let's plug our comparison solver in, and let's see here. So we're going to compare the low or high price to the regression channel upper or lower channel lines. I'm sorry. Hold on, I've got that backwards here. To the lower or the upper channel lines. Right? So let's take a look at this name, right? So if when we're looking for a long signal, right, we're looking at the low of the bar. So we're comparing the low of the bar to the regression channel to the lower regression channel line. And that'll produce a long signal. And we're using the high of the bar and comparing it to the upper channel line, right, when looking for short signals here. Okay, let's see here. So input A, that's going to be price again. So for a long signal, we're using the low of the bar. And for a short signal, we're using the opposite, the high price of the bar. And input B, that's going to be our regression channel. Now, I can actually use Ninja's regression channel if I want to. So I'm going to do that just in case others don't actually have the NinjaTrader regression channel. So I'm going to use NinjaTrader's regression channel for BloodHound's calculations here. Let's see here. So let's we need to change these periods and width to match the NinjaTrader settings here. So we're using a 50 period and I think 3.5 width, I think it was. Let's see, I've got it here, amaRegressionChannel, 3.5 and 50, okay. So this period and this width matches the amaRegressionChannel that we have on the chart. That way BloodHound signals match up or line up, right, with the indicator. So now we need to pick which plot. Which plots are we using here? So for long signals, we're using the lower channel line, and we're using the upper channel line for short signals. Okay, let's get that done. So now let's check our outputs here. So for a long signal, let's step this chart back a little bit here. There. So for a long signal, right, we're looking for the low price of the bar to be below the lower channel, right, for a long output here. So we actually want A, which is our low price, to be less than the indicator. And so right now we have A is greater than B, but we don't want that. So let's set that to 0, and let's set our short output to 0. What we do want is this. We want A to be less than B. Like so. There. And perfect. So we can see, right, all these bars that I had marked, right, as the low price being slightly below the channel, there you go. They're all marked with a green long signal there. And let's go check the other spot on the chart here. I think that was a ways back here. Ah, there we go. There. So there we go. All of these bars are marked with a short signal. And I can see I actually missed a few bars. So there we go. There's a few more bars. There. All right. So now we just need to add the slope direction of the channel, right, to our to our logic here. Now, this actually will this can't be done with a standard regression channel here. So let me show you what I mean here. Let's see. Yeah, let me open up this. Let me open up the indicator settings here. So I'm selecting the amaRegressionChannel. And yeah, let's see here. So the linear regression line, right, that's our blue line here, our dashed blue line. So this blue line. So we can't actually look at the slope of this line because you see how it's going up? Right? The midline is actually sloping up. Oops. Like so. And so here, let me go back. So we can see that the channel, the regression channels, is sloping down, but the midline, if we look at the plot, so we're looking at the plot of the midline. So we, right, but this plot of the midline is actually sloping up, but the channel itself is sloping down. Right, so we can't actually use these plot lines here. So yeah, so this actually, I think this will require the amaRegressionChannel. So let's see, let's grab a slope solver. Let's connect that in. And so let me test, I need to test the NinjaTrader Regression Channel here. And I know in NinjaTrader in NinjaTrader 7's version of the indicator, it had an output that told you the slope of the regression channel. It actually calculated the slope of the regression channel. So let's hope that the NinjaTrader 8 version does the same. So let's add that there. And let me make sure that the regression period is 50 and the multiplier, the channel width, is 3.5. Okay, yep. So now we need to see if there's a slope. Yeah, so we go. There's a, yeah, that looks, hopefully this is it. So it says slope series. Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, that. Let's see. Wow, we have this one has a lot more information. So we have a slope series, a normalized slope, and a normalized channel width. Wow, we got lots of information here. even a regression trend. Let's see, regression trend. Yeah, all right. So actually, in this case, we're not actually going to use a slope solver. Yeah, in this particular case, a slope solver wouldn't work. So let me delete this solver. And instead, what I think we need is a threshold solver. So I'm going to do a little bit of testing here. All right, so with the threshold solver, let's replace the indicator here with the Lizard Trader's regression channel. There we go. And so what I'm guessing here is that, right, so this slope series, it's a data series. So it's not a plot, but what I'm thinking it is, it's probably giving us the mathematical slope value, which is going to be a positive number or a negative number, right? So if the channel is sloping down, I'm guessing that this is probably going to be a negative number here. So I'll find out here real quickly here. So I'm going to select the slope series. And the threshold, I'm just looking for that slope series to either be greater than 0 or less than 0. So I'm going to leave all my thresholds at 0 and set my outputs here like so. And now I just need to kind of scroll along, and as long as the channel is sloping down, I would expect to see a short output here. Yeah, and all right, so the channel is just barely sloping down. And the next bar, right, the channel flips to a slight upslope. And it goes green. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And if I wanted to, I can try and guess at some slope values here. So if I wanted to kind of remove signals when the channel is kind of flat, then I could put in here like a minimum required slope amount. And looks like 1, yeah, it looks like 1 is too much. Oh, actually, sorry, hold on. Let's see, yeah, I did use the slope series. Okay, yeah, let's try 0.1. Wow, even 0.1 is too much. Let's try 0.01. There. All right, so there we go. Oops, hit this mouse wheel there. There. So here we can see on this bar, there is a slight upslope, right? As I put my horizontal cursor, right, on the channel line, you can see on the back end here, it's just a little bit down, so it's slightly sloping up. And I'm getting a little bit of a long output here, but not enough for a signal. But then, as the channel slopes up even more, now I'm getting an output here. There. So as long as this channel stays sloping up pretty good. And there. So now on this, on this bar here, let's stretch this out a little bit. There. So we can see the channel has a slight upslope, but not enough. Yeah, so there. So we can use, we can use these threshold levels to set a minimum required slope. Right. So let me put that in here, like so. Yeah, so let's take a look at the chart. There, so we can see there's some areas here where the channel kind of flattens out here. And so I'll need to scroll the chart backwards in order to see that. There. Yeah, actually here we can see the channel is almost completely flat. So therefore we were able to filter out flat channels. So when the channel kind of begins to flatten out, it won't produce any signals here. Yeah. Then, yeah, once the channel starts having a decent slope, now we're getting some, all right, this a slope output, I guess, or an output indicating that there's a slope. Yeah, here we go. Here again, here's an area where the channel is just ever so slightly sloping down, but it's not sloping down enough, right? It has a pretty minimal downslope to it. There. All right, so with that, so there we go. So with this threshold solver, and also, right, what let's see, yeah, a requirement to get the slope from a regression channel, the indicator actually has to calculate its slope. So, so again, you can't use the plot of the midline because you can see, right, this plot here, again, just to point out, right, this plot of the midline, you can see it's actually sloping up, but the channel is sloping down, right? And that's because this plot of the midline is not the slope of the channel. So, yeah, so the amaRegressionChannel, it calculates all the extra data that's needed to check the slope of the regression channel here. So we have the slope series. It includes a normalized slope, which I'm not sure what that would be. You guys could email in NinjaTrader support and find out. I'm sure they have some documentation that explains what the difference is between just a regular slope and a normalized slope. And then there's also a regression trend as well. So whatever that is. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. We got our two solvers here. So now we connect them together with a AND node. Right, so our top solver is checking, it's verifying that price is either broken below or above the channel line. And our bottom solver is checking the slope of the regression channel. And there we go. And there we have it. So, yeah, let's squeeze this out a little bit. There. All right, that does it for that question. Gary's got a question about using the slope solver. So he's wanting to learn how to, I guess, more accurately detect when the angle of an indicator, has a steep enough angle to it. Yeah, and so he wants to do this on the MACD-BB indicator. All right, yeah, so let's take a look at that, Gary. So first, let me get a MACD BB indicator on my chart. Here we go. Okay, so I have one from Sim22, and I'll use that one because I think these Sim22s are available from NinjaTrader's download area, right? And so there's no membership fee to download from NinjaTrader. Yeah, so I'll use this Sim22 one. So I'm pretty sure LizardTrader also has one as well. Yeah, there we go. So there's one from LizardTrader, a MACD BB lines, MACD KC lines, or Keltner channel lines. Oh, that's right. Yeah, so LizardTrader has two different versions, either the Bollinger Band or a Keltner channel with a MACD. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to use the Sim22 one. So let's put that on the chart. There. All right, I'm going to have to adjust some of these colors here so we can see them on my dark chart. Yeah, so Gary wants to focus on checking the slope of the Bollinger Bands for the BB MACD. So there we go, nice, and I made them thick and white so we can see them easily. And let's see if I can make the MACD dots a lot smaller here. There we go. All right. So the MACD dot is at the very bottom. There we go. So now I kind of faded the MACD line in the background. Great. Okay. So let's move this up. And let's expand this here. And let's see. All right. It's complaining about a sound file here. Let me try and fix that. All right. Good. Now I got everything kind of cleaned up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to focus on the white Bollinger Band lines here. And we want to focus on the slope angle, on the slope of these lines here. So, all right, let's get BloodHound open and let's kind of play around with the slope solver a little bit. All right, let's start a new logic template here. So, there we go. All right. All right, let's just make sure. So this is the Sim22 MACD BB that we're using. So I know with Ninja 7 there were a lot of different MACD BB indicators out there, and I imagine the same thing's going to happen with NinjaTrader 8. Eventually there's just going to be a lot of different versions of this MACD BB indicator out there. So all right, so let's go to our solvers list and grab a slope solver, connect that in there, and let's go to our indicators, and let's see, okay, let's go to the Sim22. So there's our MACD BB indicator, and it's the gapless one. All right, so let me go in here and just adjust a few things here. Yeah, I just want to get rid of the sound files just in case. Let's see, play cross sound. I want to turn that off just in case. There we go. There's the other sound file name. Okay, get rid of those two. And all right, so now we need to figure out which plot. So let's do the upper plot first. We'll check the slope of the upper plot here, or the upper Bollinger Band. And Let's give this a name. All right. So what we want to focus on here is when you're trying to narrow down and get a requirement of a specific angle on your indicator, right? That's what the max slope and min slope is for. So now this indicator, right, our MACD-BB indicator, it runs in its own subpanel, right? So the scaling on it doesn't have ticks, right? So if an indicator runs in its own subpanel, it doesn't have a tick value for it, right? Only price has a tick value. So an indicator has to plot on the price panel in order for that indicator to have a tick value. So for our maximum slope settings here, instead of using ticks, we want to use, scroll this down here, let's expand this open. So we're going to change the measurement and to points. Right, there we go. So change the measured in to points. And let's do that for both of them. All right. So, yeah, let's see here. So the MACD BB, we can see it has a scaling of whole numbers here, right? So it's going from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, you know, up to 10, down to negative 12. So on this indicator, well, actually on all the indicators that run in their own subpanel, have their own scaling, a point would be a value of 1, right? So one point is a value of 1 on the BB MACD scale, and that goes for all indicators that run in their subpanel. Right. So there. All right. So now that we have our measurement unit set to points, now we can start doing some testing. So basically, with every indicator, every indicator has a different slopes. You know, so you just kind of have to play around, and also changing the indicator parameters. So if I change the period settings for this MACD-BB, right, that's going to kind of also change the slope angles of these Bollinger Band lines here. So, yeah, so in every case, you always just going to have to play around and find out what slope settings, you know, work best with your indicator. So there, yeah. So if I take a look at this, yeah. So remember, right now we're just looking at the slope of the upper band here, the upper band. So over here, I can see here, right, this upper band has enough slope and it's being, right, painted, or I should say there's a solver that has an output. And then as the upper band kind of, you know, it's still sloping down, but it's flattening out a little bit. So, right, so this didn't have enough slope to get an output. And so basically, you just keep adjusting these numbers to find out what you want. So if I knock that down a little bit, and there, so now this entire downslope is considered, right, as having enough slope to it. But then right here, right, we can see the upper band flattens out just a tiny bit, you know, but not, right, so it's not sloping enough to be considered as a downslope. So that's what you do. You just kind of play around with your slope settings. So remember, if you're using an indicator that's in its own subpanel, then you want to change the measurement units to points first. So basically what this is saying is that from bar to bar, right, so this upper band, it is moving 0.4. It's moving a value of 0.4 from bar to bar, right? So it's moving down at least 0.4, a value of 0.4. And if we pull up the data box, yeah, let's pull up the data box. And yeah, here we go. So here's the upper band right there. The upper band value just above where it says panel 2 is the upper band. So let's see here. All right, so the upper band has a value of 1452.6. So let's just say, right, 2.6 on this bar. So if I slide my cursor over to the next bar, is it adjusting? Yeah, so it's good. Right. Yeah, so 2.6 down to 2.5. And I was expecting it to move at least 0.4. All right, well, I might need to correct myself here. Yeah, all right, so let me put this back to ticks and just check something here. Yeah, no, we definitely want to use points here. All right, well, I'll have to check. Yeah, I have to check with the programmer here and find out what the exact calculation is for points. But yeah, it was my understanding that if you put in, 0.4 points, that the value of the upper band should move at least 0.4 from one bar to the next. And it's not. Well, all right. In any case, yeah, so I guess, yeah, my mathematical understanding of what was being calculated internally is not correct, but still, the process is the same. You want to set it to points and then just figure out what values here, give you the results that you want to see, right? So when you're looking at the angle of your indicator, you just play around with these values, right, until you get, the slopes, the slopes that you want to see identified as, painted with the racing stripes. Once you get all those identified, and right, and the areas where the slope isn't steep enough, make sure that those areas don't have a racing stripe. Okay, so if we take, so I'm going to take this question a little step further here. So so this solver is measuring, right, the upper band, right? So it's measuring the slope upwards and downwards for the upper band. And, since the Bollinger has two bands, if you wanted to check both bands at the same time, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, so I went to the Solvers tab here, and I'm going to select our MacDBB slope solver, make a copy of it, and rename this to the lower band. Go into the indicator settings, and select the lower Bollinger plot here, right? The lower band plot. I'll select that. So now we have a solver that's going to check the slope of the lower band. So now let's go back over to the Logic tab. Let's go to our solver pull-down menu. We're going to go to existing nodes. And then at the bottom of the list, there's that new solver I just made, looking at the lower band now, right? So I can put that on the board. And there we go. So I can plug that in. Yeah. So now, yeah, we're looking at the slope of the lower band. And if I want to combine both of them together, I can use something like an AND node. Plug that in. And there. So now what that does, what the AND node does, is it requires both the upper and the lower band to have a steep enough angle or steep enough slope, right, to qualify. So, right, so we can see here like the upper band right here. The upper band kind of flattened out a little bit, even though the lower band was still nice and steep, right? But so the upper band kind of flattened out a little bit, and so therefore no output of the slope. So there we have it. Yeah, that concludes this workshop. So one more workshop tomorrow for Blackbird, right? Blackbird workshop tomorrow. So other than that, if I don't see you tomorrow, this is the one time of the year where I get to say I'll see you guys next year. All right, that joke never gets old. Okay, guys, have a good one. Hope to see you tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll see you next year. All right, bye-bye, guys.